So the Human Services Committee of November 2nd, 2021 is called to order. Could we have roll call, please?
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Sear.
Here.
Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Laring.
Here.
Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Pego.
Here.
Chairman Skolnick.
Here.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Here.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Here. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes of October 5th? Support. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is unanimous. Okay, is there any public comment today on an agenda item?
I don't see anyone online.
Anyone online? Okay, we'll proceed to items for consideration. HS 21/11-27, Public Health. Kathy Moore, move to approve additional funding for fiscal year 2022 in the amount of $21,250 for Living Word Church for snow removal, to amend the budget accordingly and authorize the designated senior millage grants administrator senior resources to proceed with the administration of the programs.
Support. So move. I'm sorry.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any comments, questions, or concerns?
Was this going to go out to bids for any other contractors? Was this the sole contractor? How are we approaching this year?
At this time, this is the sole contractor. They were awarded the contract and they requested additional funding to serve 25 additional seniors. This is a very popular service. At the time of their request, they had one spot open for available, and they anticipated quite a few more demand.
This was, I think it was unanimously approved at Senior Activities Committee,
Yes, it
correct?
was.
Yes. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I have another
Yes.
question. So I think these two first motions are kind of related, right?
Yes. Yeah, one's for
Right.
snow removal.
So
one's
this
for
is
lawn
to
care.
add 25 more seniors than what's already allocated. There's 100, correct now? So this
100
is to
currently.
increase.
That's correct. And I forgot to say Kathy Moore, Public Health Director, but yes, that's correct.
Thank you, Kathy. So I have a question. How does this information get out to the municipalities? Because from my experience, from my residents and townships, nobody, or if there is anybody, I'm not aware of it. Some of my townships have concerns because it does not reach our area out in the eastern part of the county.
And that has been some of the common complaints. They do have the senior minute. There is the website, of course, and then there is a senior navigator that visits the municipalities. But one of the reasons we proposed and the board approved that 25% allocation is so that those individual municipalities could take a portion of that funding and mold it to exactly what their constituents wanted or needed.
So you could start a program in Fulton or.
I'm not sure. Well,
No,
so,
somebody.
but this is what's happened. So because there was some people last year that had requested and it was already too full. Some people specifically my township where I live were turned down because they couldn't come out there because they were full. So what Holton Township decided to do with their pass-through money is actually contract a local contractor for snow plowing. So, but now this is opening back up for 25 more seniors, which I'm sure it will fill up, but how are we?
That would be a question actually for the contractor, which is Living Word Church. But even, when we ask the question, it is very fairly distributed, and I'm sure it's a first come, first serve.
Well, right.
Then they look at need. I mean, if they had two individuals and they both wanted it, they would prioritize the individual with the greatest need.
So
I think
greatest
they go
need, not
by-
location.
Not necessarily location, but we did stipulate, I believe it was 30% rural. But that may not even still reach your.
So do you
area.
have the data on the majority or location geographical wise? Where that
I do not
percentage-wise
have
for
the data,
service?
but based on what he reported at the Senior Activities Committee, the majority is Greater Muskegon area, and the second would be Muskegon Heights area. It almost follows population density.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
I have someone else, another township supervisor contacted me, and his goal, because he also contacted the lower church, and they said that they were pretty much full up, is what I understand. So what his goal is to do is to take and, like Commissioner Pagel said, take the senior resources dollars that are committed to him, and then contract with somebody locally to do the seniors that still need plowing that are not being met by this program. So,
Well, since if we pass both of these, there will be another 25 slots, so.
Well, that'll be
it'll
additional?
technical. Yeah. They have not been taken yet, as far as I know. Yeah.
Yes, will this include Muskegon Heights? Because this is what I've been asking for a long time, and now some of the people that I asked for.
Yes, so it absolutely includes Muskegon Heights. The problem is, I believe the demand is just greater than the supply.
Yeah.
And that's, that's partly why they came back with the request, because it's hard for them to tell people no too. But the funding, they only fill for as much as they're funded. But yes, Muskegon Heights is also included, and based on the report at the Senior Activities Committee, I think the jurisdiction of Muskegon Heights was the second largest area served.
Okay.
And they have an income requirement. I believe you can't get more than Social Security. Is that right? If you get a pension, you don't qualify, as I recall.
They use an income for determining prioritization, not eligibility. To be eligible, you would have to be a senior, but to be prioritized, you would have to have an additional need.
Okay, yes, Mr.
Madam Chair,
Nash.
I was just thinking that it probably would be wise if the Senior Services Committee maybe put together a RFP directed at just a contractor who will do just the rural areas. That way, Live and Work can concentrate on the urban areas, and the other organization can concentrate more on the rural areas.
That's an excellent
I like
idea.
that.
Yeah, great idea.
I'll bring that back as part of communication.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I want to follow up to Charles. When this program initially started, it was to serve the whole county. And he does have the additional capacity because he operates with multiple snow removal contractors. It's just the number of residents, and it's always been kind of a first come, first serve, and then there's a priority list of needs. But they do have the capability to serve more residents. It's just the number of residents is limited by the budget. So I would suggest that maybe we don't need another provider. We just need to serve more clients through the current provider. He does have the capacity because he doesn't purchase the equipment himself to do this. He just hires it done by a price basis by the cheapest snowplow operators he can get to provide the service. So my recommendation would be, let's just approve, if we have the need in the county of qualified people, let's just maybe next time meet and add 50 to it if that's what it takes to service the residents that have the need.
Well, yes, Ms. Commissioner Stone.
I just wanted to say, I hope there's some kind of income constraints to this thing, because you could spend the entire $2 million senior millage money on snowplowing and lawn.
Exactly.
I don't know whether that's a stringent thing or not. I mean, I think it's a good service, but people who need it should get it, not just because you're over 65 or whatever the age is. There's no limit to the number of people that would want this.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I think Ms. Moore did say that there is a limit. There is a qualifying, what did you say, prioritizing?
Yeah, it's prioritized based on need. And so definitely age 60 and above, according to the state law, qualifies for millage services. And then the Senior Activities Committee categorizes and limits the funding per category. So many dollars for the snow removal, so many dollars for home repairs and so forth, education, travel.
I would like to comment on Mr. Nash's suggestion. I think that's a good one. I think it would be beneficial to the county to have more than one, because this is kind of, I don't know if they gain financially from it, but it's the pastor's son who runs it. And so they're, I think it would be good to reach out to other providers.
I think what Commissioner Laring was saying is they're facilitating they're subcontracting out. So that's already actually happening. It's just that the need is greater than the supply. Kathy, or Ms. Chair, can I ask the Senior Minute, the website, and the Senior Navigator, can you explain what those are and how that information actually goes to the
Yeah, so
seniors?
the Senior Minute is a monthly newsletter that Senior Resources produces to actually not only just tell about the service and activities available through the Senior Millage, but also through Senior Resources, which is our local area agency on aging. The website is Senior Resources West Michigan.org, I believe. I always mix that up. And then the Senior Navigator is a grant awarded to the Community Health Project for some of their community health workers to visit municipalities at a set time, and where seniors can go there, and it's normally at the Township Hall or City Hall, and the seniors can go there, and that navigator will explain all of the resources available for seniors that they are aware of.
Okay. Do you have a list, or can you get a list of that? What townships that Senior Navigator goes to by full board?
I can make that request, yes.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Seer.
Kathy, I don't remember who it was, but I thought under the whole seniors programs that we had, that there was another provider that provides snow plowing. Is that correct?
Senior Resources provide snow plowing either through some of the unmet needs dollars or through their own funding. So we are not the only show in town,
I didn't think so.
definitely. But for the millage dollars, it is Living Word Church. And then Senior Resources has, of course, a nice annual budget, and they also contract individually with contractors to provide similar service. There's maybe a little more scrutinized, like, looking at if you got a grandson at home or some other able-bodied individuals.
That makes sense. Do you know where they are as far as capacity right now? As far as the number of people they serve, are they at their max?
So because it's snow removal and we really don't know what the weather's going to bring, it's hard to predict. So they do have funding designated for that purpose. If we have a huge snow season, they may run out as well. Yeah, I mean, if we have a really small snow season, then it'll be underutilized.
Okay, thank you.
Are we ready to vote?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor of HS
Roll
21?
call, please. It's financial.
Yeah, I know. -11-27, roll call, please.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring.
Yes.
Commissioner Nash.
Yes.
Commissioner Pego.
No for now.
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes.
Commissioner Seer.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. That passed. We'll move on to HS 21-11-21, Public Health. Move to approve additional funding for fiscal year 22 in the amount of $17,875, again, for Living Word Church for lawn care, to amend the budget accordingly and to authorize the designated senior millage grants administrator, Senior Resources, to proceed with the administration of the program.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, is there any questions or concerns or clarification? Yes,
It's dash 28.
28. I said that, didn't I?
You said 21, 28.
Oh, 28, okay, sorry.
Mr. Chair, so Kathy, could we get the same statistics and data of the geographical areas served on this as the same as the snow plowing?
Yes.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Waring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego.
No,
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. And the HS 21/11-29, public health to approve, move to approve additional senior millage funding for fiscal year 22 in the amount of $8,228 for a total of $163,074. Funds to local municipalities to coordinate and provide services, programs, and or activities for seniors in their jurisdiction and to amend the budget accordingly.
So moved.
I'd like to correct that. I think that number, the total number, what was that again?
$613.74,
No.
$216,074.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry. Any
Mr.
discussion?
Chair, yes.
Yes.
So I have a question, Ms. Moore. So one of my townships, you're aware, this has been an ongoing issue. I think this is why this happened. Is there going to be any, I talked to her this today, is there going to be anything made up for the fiscal year 21? Or is it just going to be for next year? Is there any additional that will?
The idea would be to just make that adjustment for the current year. So this would be retroactive to October 1st, but not into fiscal year 21.
Okay, thank you. I have it. Yeah, I've read it. Thank you.
Okay, are we ready to vote? Oh, Mr. Nash.
Is this for a particular county? I mean, municipality?
This is for all the municipalities, but what we're asking is to hold them harmless, the ones who would have gotten less, because we were so late in the year that they are expecting to get at a minimum the same amount of money that they received last year.
Oh,
And there is a list on page 8, the hold harmless category, which is the third column from the right.
so what you're saying, they were approved for less, but we're trying to correct that?
Now, I'm saying if we use the most current estimated numbers, some counties would get less. But we know that the official census data is not in until March of 2022. So in March of 2022, we'll make an adjustment for fiscal year 23, but they'll have at least 6 weeks notice, 6 months advance notice to adjust for October 1st of 2022.
Okay, are we ready to vote? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes,
Chairman Skolnick.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Waring,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. Okay. Now we'll take up HS 21/11-30, public health. Authorize public health to accept funding from the Lakeshore Regional Entity in the amount of $336,000 for substance abuse prevention in Muskegon County effective October 1, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. Adjust the budget accordingly and further authorize public health director to sign the related agreement.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Hughes.
On this is for substance abuse prevention services. Isn't that something that community mental health does?
We are the prevention, community mental health is the treatment. And then they also provide intervention, which is, it's sort of in between prevention and treatment.
Okay, so yours is just information only?
Ours is prevention and it's mostly education and focus groups and yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I have the same question. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right, let's move to a vote.
Commissioner
Roll
Pego,
call, please.
Commissioner Pego,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. That passed. The next one is HS 21/11-31, Public Health to authorize public health to fiscal year 22 Lakeshore Regional Entity Gambling Disorder Prevention Project Grant in the amount of $35,000 and adjust that budget accordingly, and further authorize the Public Health Director to sign related agreements.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there questions, comments, or concerns? Yes.
Kathy,
Commissioner
on
Hughes?
this, with the $35,000 is not a whole lot of money. I don't know how many gambling disorder prevention things we need in Muskegon County, but you should take this to the tribe and say, you know, the county has authorized this, would you match?
That's a great idea. And I know that some communities that have casinos, their public health department receives
Yep, I know they
additional
do,
funding.
so I
Yes.
would just say, you know, I'd ask them to match.
Yes.
This is once the casino is up. you
No,
mean?
I'd ask them now. I'd ask them now. Because you certainly would prefer to get treatment to somebody who has that problem right now before the casino opens. All they
Any
need to
other-
say no,
Right.
Are there any questions, comments, or concerns?
Just
Yes.
for informational purposes, you know, a lot of this is based on the B2 dollars that we're supposed to get from the state. So this is formulated standard money that comes in from the state regarding that legislation. And so that's where these different amounts come from. Because didn't it used to come kind of in one package?
Yeah, the PA $2 used to come in a different package where it came to the county. And then, you know, public health received a portion. I believe the county received a portion, and then the LRE managed additionally.
Right, right.
Yes.
And that's what I was just thinking, because it used to come in a large lump sum, but now it seems to be breaking down into individual.
Yeah, we
portions.
don't know the whole big picture. We just know now the little piece that we get.
Right, right. Now, that 336 is a lot less than what it used to be. Isn't it?
It is a lot less over the years. We've been as high as 585,000. But it's my understanding that those are liquor tax dollars, and the more people drink and pay those taxes, the more money we get, but then we're supposed to prevent that. So it's sort of a catch-22. Last year or 2 years ago, it was 410,000, and we were reduced by 75,000. That is almost the equivalent of a full-time health educator, and we've been able to reallocate that person to our COVID funding. And so they're doing case investigation and contact tracing right now.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Skolnick.
You know, I noticed we just got a nice check for the sales of marijuana, so we'll make up for the loss.
Are you doing your part?
No.
That was quick.
That's how she finds out when it's help.
Intervention.
Okay, where are we? I think we're ready to vote.
Chair Skolnick,
Yes.
This is
Commissioner
on 31.
Wilkins, Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pego,
What one am I going on? 31?
This is gambling disorder grant.
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. Okay, that passed. Moving on to HS 21/11-32, Public Health, authorize Public Health to accept the LRE COVID-19 block grant funding in the amount of $55,785 adjust the budget accordingly, and further authorize the public health director to sign the related agreement.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns? Are there any? Yes.
I would like to know, what is this for? Just a lot grant?
So this is first, the first step is to accept the money. We are in the planning stages. And I did invite Jill Peace, our public health education supervisor, and I believe Laura Fitzpatrick, and I don't know if DJ's on that committee or not. But there's a team that's going to meet, a collaborative community team that's going to meet and propose a purpose for these dollars. But if Jill could come up and give a little more detail.
Hi.
Thank you.
So COVID funding, we had an opportunity to be able to address some of the other issues that are going on in Muskegon County, namely the opioid epidemic. So we thought we'd take some of the dollars and put it in that particular direction and do some education, product education, do a conference here in Muskegon, invite professionals, allow them to obtain credit hours while they're there, learn a lot about what's going on in Muskegon this way, what some of the best treatments are, what addiction is and what addiction isn't, and spend our money that way.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions?
Yes.
Not sure it's for you or for Kathy, but this says allow the health director to sign the related agreement, and the devil's in the details. Are there any strings attached to this in compliance the county has to conform to or comply to accept this grant money? You probably haven't seen the agreement yet, but.
Right, and we'll see it before, but a lot of it is following the state's agreement with COVID-19 dollars. And a lot of that is there has to be a COVID related outcome, and increase in opioid use is an outcome of some of the things that's been happening since the pandemic. That's one of them. And then the other is that, we can't use these dollars any differently than our county, we would use our county dollars. And so as long as we follow the county procurement policy and accounting policies and procedures, we're okay.
So my question is more along the lines of compliance with state mandates. If the governor says you have to mask 2-year-olds, are we going to be forced, by accepting these dollars and spending these dollars, are we going to be forced as a county into masking toddlers next or something?
No, we are not. I believe we will be afforded the opportunity to renege on that if that comes. So there is, there is the concept of no unfunded mandates, but the agreement does not include that at this time, and they normally don't retroactively add. But there's first time for everything.
It's not a time for everything.
There's a first time.
Well, so if we sign this agreement, I guess I'm concerned with what might be in the agreement.
And I understand what you're saying, and I understand your concern. I'm just not the person that can give you a guarantee. I just know that, based on what I know right now, we're not going to be required to do anything like that with this funding, or as a result of accepting this funding.
So do you research, I'm sure this agreement goes through legal counsel, and if there's strings attached to it.
It does. So we take, when we first received the agreement in draft, our finance supervisor actually go through and highlight anything that's changed or different than what we're already doing, because we have to be aware of that in order to be compliant. So definitely we would look at that before we sign.
So I guess I'm trusting you guys.
Thank you for that, and I hope I can, fulfill that. I don't know the consequences, but I'll take that.
Oh, no.
Okay, I guess are we ready to vote? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes,
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
Commissioner Hovey Wright.
Yes. Moving on to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Any new business? Any public comment on anything related to human services?
nothing online.
Okay, any final board comments?
Thank you, Kathy.
All right.
Oh, actually, I do have something.
Yes.
So, the
Under
administrator,
final comments?
yes, on their final comments. The administrator and I actually sat in Ms. Moore's lean presentation last week. And do you want to give us an update on that at all?
Yes, and so as the director, I am not participating in the day-to-day training because we want the staff to be able to speak freely and to create their own buy-in. And so Administrator Eisenbarth and Commissioner Pago, and as well as Sandra, Court Administrator Sandra Vanderheide, participated in a overview summary from our staff, and they heard for the first time what I heard as well. We have, the staff is assessing the customer service area of public health. They have identified what is termed as areas of waste, which would be areas to be improved where there could be duplication or delays just because something's sitting on a desk or in a file or somewhere. And so the consultant has had them just go throughout the building and as a group and sort of ask questions of their coworkers, what's this process? Where the coworker, has really gotten used to doing something because that's what they always do. Their coworkers is like, well, that doesn't make sense. Why are you doing it this way? And they're like, I don't know. And so they are making progress, and that's what they reported to our 3 visitors last Friday. The next steps is what they did was identify areas, and now the next step is to look at ways to streamline those areas of improvement. Lots of red sticky notes, and that it was a little intimidating, but we can do it.
I was quite impressed. They had a whole long whiteboard of all of the areas that's been identified and how they can improve. And I actually asked the presenter if he could come home with me and do this at my house. Thank you, Kathy.
Okay, I think I will call this meeting adjourned.